Hello, everyone. This is the Nameless One, and today we will be doing an Alicorn discusses European creators. For those of you that don't know what that means, basically this is a creator roundup, but for our I said European. There's some non-Europeans, basically people that don't normally fit into my time zone for these podcasts. For those of you that are watching, don't forget, if you like that and would like to see more of it, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring the notification bell, follow on Twitch, all of that good stuff. Stick around to the end of the podcast on how you can support the channel further, as well as a few announcements. Other than that, let's go ahead and jump straight into the introductions. And we are going to start off with... make Proceleon go first. So, introduce who you are, what you do, like all of the things you do, creator-wise, and where you're from, and what made you decide to start being a creator.
Okay. I am Proceleon. I go by Lightning Stripe on pony websites. I do mainly art and game development, but I do writing on the side as well. I am from the UK, England specifically. And I've always really been like on the edge of the fandom, but I really got into the series around 2018 because some of my friends sort of forced me to to make a pony OC of my own.
Conversion by coercion.
Pretty much, yeah. And I think the rest is pretty much history from there. I began making more and more pony characters, and the rest kind of wrote itself from there.
Okay. Nicola.
Yes.
It's your turn.
I'm a YouTuber, an artist, animator. I do lots of stuff. I got into MLP since I was around 2014. I watched it for the first time and really liked it. But then, because I watched it on in my language, I didn't. I stopped watching it because only 4 seasons were, translated. Then around 2020, I got to watch it again, realizing that there is more seasons, the whole fandom, and that's when I started doing first watching other YouTubers and then wanting to do something on my own.
Where are you from, and what name can people find you by?
Well, I'm from Serbia, and what name? Yeah, they can find me.
Yeah. What do they, if they're looking you up? What do they call you?
Hell, that's really my friends mix between Cartoon and Nicola. It's fine either way.
Okay. Matsu.
Hello, I am Matsu, and I am in fact not European. I'm from Brazil, and I am a writer. I mostly do horror and dark fantasy, and I was a writer before I joined the community, which was in that long ago. I'm fairly new to the community. I think I joined like for real in April of last year, somewhere around that date. But after I officially joined the community, I've decided that I would actually start doing what I like, which is writing and creating stuff for the community as well.
Okay. EE.
Hi, I'm Quest for Exploration. I'm from the UK, England specifically. I tend to just do what I feel like doing at the time, making videos, editing, art, animation, voice acting. Basically, whatever my ADHD focuses on, I guess. Anyway, I first, as far as I could tell, got into NLP around either 2016 or 2015. That's when I started making things inspired by it. At least one fan fiction, some old fan animations I've never released. But I originally got into it because I was into watching review YouTube at the time, and one of the reviewers I ended up watching reviewed mostly cartoons and reviewed a lot of Friendship is Magic, and that kind of got me interested in the show. And ever since then, I just kept watching and eventually ended up joining the community. I hope that helps.
Okay. Dasha.
Yes, the last one. I'll make it quick. Hey, I'm Dasha. I'm a Dutch pony. I do a lot of animations. My specialty is 3D. I'm a 3D generalist, so I do a lot of 3D stuff on my own. I do a lot of voice acting too. And I've been doing this for around 8 years.
Okay.
Yes.
So we're gonna go ahead and jump right into it. Start out with my usual starter questions. These are kind of general, so everybody should be able to answer them. But first one, what we're gonna do is, what does y'all's creative process look like? If you have multiple, feel free to describe each one, because I know some of you do straddle all of the lines for every creator sphere. And we'll go ahead and we'll start with Dasha.
Wait, can you repeat once again?
Basically, what does your creative process look like for what you do?
Okay, so that depends on what I'm doing, but I'll just start with animation. I think that's the most easiest thing. So first I'll choose a song to animate. That's for me very important to create ideas. And from that I'm gonna block out animation and see if that works. If it doesn't work out, I'm gonna try other things. What's important for me is getting feedback from friends and strangers, so to say, because friends are always very too good for you. They're like, hey, this is so nice, you're doing so good. But actually you want the real feedback. So that's what I'm striving for. And with a lot of grinding, I'm getting there. Because animation takes a lot of hours. So you have to be very committed to what you're doing.
Was that it? All you wanted to say?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Matsu.
Oh boy. Well, I draw a lot of inspiration from books and games that I play. That's usually like my head start when I want to write something. A lot of my writing style came from one of my favorite books of all time, which is House of Leaves. Whenever I want to create something new, after I got inspired by something or someone, maybe, um, I usually just start by putting all my ideas, like my general ideas and stuff that I want to put in it. If I'm doing a one shot, it's much easier. But if I'm doing a big story, I usually do like a big Google Doc with pretty much all the important plot points that I want to put, and I like making little timelines of events and all that stuff. Uh, Usually it's not as complex. I only just slap some ideas there, and when I actually start writing, that's when the actual challenge starts. I think that's usually how it goes. Connecting the ideas together. But with times, everything comes along and makes a story, and that's about it. Because I don't do much else aside from writing. So oh well.
Okay. Proceleon,
Hello.
it's your turn.
Creative process. It usually starts with like a central idea for the kind of character that I want to create when I'm doing art. The central idea could be anything from like a story role or just something that I want to create a character around, like a theme. But usually, when it comes to other things like games or writing, it will start from the art. So I'll make this character, and I'll think that they would be, useful in like a story setting or like a gameplay setting. So then that will feed into story ideas if I'm writing, or maybe gameplay ideas as well. So it usually starts from the art and the content of the character. And usually I will add in sort of additional inspirations from maybe other things that I thought have been done before, but not quite to the extent that I'd like. So I'd want to add into it and make more of that particular thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so pretty much a combination of a goal that I want to achieve and something that I want to see more of.
Okay. See. Nicola, your turn.
Well, for me it depends on what I do. When it comes to art, I'm still not that good. I'm still practicing and not posting very much. It's more like for me, and it's usually if I watch, for example, MLP again, or some other anime or cartoon or whatever. When it comes to YouTube, I have a giant list of theories and ideas, and for that I'm just slow. And for things like maybe sprites and similar, I just wait for my friend to tell me what to do.
Okay. And E.
Not sure if I have much new to add. Honestly, kind of same as what everyone's already saying. It kind of depends on what I'm working on at the time. But anyway, most of the time it usually consists of having an idea and writing it down so I don't forget, and maybe coming back to it later on. And if it's an idea for a YouTube video, I basically script out everything I can think of in relation to the idea and try and put together some ideas for visuals. And yeah, honestly, I don't really know what sorry. Next one.
Okay.
Uh,
So we'll move on to the next question. So I know we've got a bit of a diverse series of creators here, but next question is going to be kind of a two-parter. What is the thing that you wish you had known before you started, as well as your biggest piece of advice to creators who are just getting started in your prospective fields of creation? And we're going to start with Matsu.
Ooh. Can you repeat the first question, please?
First part would be the thing that you wish you had known before you got started. And then the second part is biggest piece of advice to brand new creators.
I'm not exactly sure how to answer the first one, to be honest.
It's a hard
Second-
one.
Yeah. What did I... Well, I guess I'll start with the second one then, if that's easier for me. I'm really not super great at giving advice or teaching people how to do stuff, even if it's something that I'm good at. I'm a terrible teacher. But one thing that I always recommend to people who are doing writing and started writing is reading, actually. Like, just reading books, reading many different books, and just books, articles, and all that kind of stuff. I think it helps a lot, both with storytelling and grammar. Like I said, House of Leaves was a big inspiration for me. It helped a lot with my writing style and just like the overall way that I write. But yeah, as for the first one, I still don't know how to answer it.
Okay. Let's see. Nicola, you get to go next.
Well, what I wished I knew earlier, I guess maybe how to use layers, because when I started I was just using paint, but there's nothing really in particular, and when it comes to advice, I'm not very good with those. Just start with something you like, and I started the drawing really with MLP, and I'm still learning, so I'm.
Okay. Dasha.
Yes. Like I
Yes,
said, it's a very hard question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did I wish for starting? Well, it's just very difficult. I started out very young, so that makes it harder to answer it. But I think asking for help, it's very important for your growth, and that's the thing I wish I really did when I was younger. My advice to people who want to start out in every kind of thing, if you're an artist, an animator, be committed to your dreams. I think that's very important to be determined to finish your project. So find friends and family who support you, and you will go far.
Some good advice there.
Well, you're welcome.
EE.
I honestly don't know what to say for the things I wish I'd known before. Not sure I said last time. Yeah. What was the other part of the question again?
Advice for
It
new
was,
creators with
what advice was you?
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess. I don't know. I guess maybe. Yeah, sorry, I can't think of anything. Sorry. Pass.
Okay. Proceleon.
I was trying to think of something the others haven't already said. Honestly, they answered pretty well there. I thought. I suppose when you're starting out, it can feel like you're sort of on your own a little bit, sort of in your own little bubble when you're entering a fandom for the first time, and especially when you're starting to create things. You might not have that many eyes on you. It can just feel like you're sending things out to the void. But if you sort of look around a bit, you can find people who will support you and as I found out, teach you new things about the areas you want to go into. And actually, the fandom I've found is fairly tight knit, I want to say. So yeah, they will support you if you ask.
Oh, we have another person here. Give me just a sec to put you on the list here. Go ahead and introduce who you are, what you do, as well as where you're from and what got you started to being a creator.
Just like that?
Yes.
Stories. I work on comics together with my wife since 2013, and I was inspired to do this by Trite Bristle, who made the Lyra Heartstring comics. And yeah, I just did the same, and while he stopped a while ago, unfortunately, we continued until today, and that's why I'm here.
Just a second to current question on the table at the moment is things that you had wished you known before you got started as a creator, as well as any advice you may have for newcomers into the creative sphere.
That's simple. What I would have loved to know before is how long it takes to draw backgrounds, especially if you do comics. You're like, hey, yeah, you have to draw all these vectors and puppets and whatever you want to call it, but backgrounds, those take forever. And the advice I would give to every newcomer out there is to keep your expectations low in the beginning. I've seen so many people start amazing stuff from comics to art, music even, and they all were like, after a week, like, it gets no attention, it gets no attention. And I was like, yeah, sometimes it takes months or years, but then at some point, if you continue to do your stuff, you just pull through. And that is why I say keep your expectations realistically in the beginning.
You're not going to start out as the next Pablo Picasso.
Yeah, that's a
Exactly.
really good one, actually. Yeah.
Okay. So, next question I think we'll do, because I think that covers everybody now. So, again, we have a diverse cast of different creator types and like what I usually do. So, I think we're going to stick to trying to do some of the more general questions. So, what I think we'll do next is for your individual things that you do, you can either pick one for each thing or pick one overall thing that is just like the hardest thing for you. Whether it's like, creating models from scratch for Dasha or whatever. You guys get the idea?
Like what you find most difficult to do.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna make Matsu go first.
Oh boy. It's not exactly something like I do, but I think the most difficult part of the entire process for me is definitely taking the criticism. But it's a needed part. We can put it that way. But especially in the beginning, I was very avert to actually like showing my stuff because of fear of being criticized. Even though usually constructive criticism is very good for improving your writing, and I think it's pretty common for people to look at the thing you created and you're holding your baby there. It's perfect. It's beautiful the way it is, but maybe it's not. And I think that was a big part of the process that I had to overcome, I guess I could put it that way, in order for me to start writing better stories.
Okay. Nicola.
Well, I would definitely say making a videos because they for videos I need to use all of my skills: writing, art, and animation, whatever I consider is needed for a video. And I'm sorry, I'm having a little of as they call it, stage fright.
It's perfectly all right.
Take a deep breath, that might help.
You're not the
Yeah.
only one.
It's honestly the first time I'm on any kind of stream.
Don't worry, I don't bite most of the time.
This
You can do
this,
it.
this is like my third time here. I still get stage fright.
With this view.
You're not alone.
Thanks.
Was that all you had?
Yeah, I can't. Nothing else comes to mind.
Okay. Dasha, your turn.
Yes. So technical wise, modeling is very hard for me because I'm used to animation. So modeling is a skill I'm currently practicing. And some more technical stuff. Lip syncing is very hard if you're a 2D animator or a 3D animator. So that's kind of a curse.
I was
And-
I was hearing that and walk cycles a lot for the animation.
Yes. Indeed, like the walk cycle is the most difficult thing to animate because you have to keep like so many things in mind. So that's why if you start out animating, your teachers will let you animate a ball to get to know the principles of animation. And personally, what I find most difficult, I'm not afraid to say it, but that's self-doubt. I think a lot of us deal with it, like, is it good enough? Is it not? So I think that's a thing we all are still learning to get over. But it is a thing around us.
Okay. Yes.
Yes. I think as a comic creator, for me, one of the hardest things is to unite writing dialogue and the script itself to get a page interesting in a way without feeling forced. This is sometimes more difficult than less, but it's probably the most difficult thing. Something that it's like a hurdle you have to take every single page. Like, you want something interesting to happen on a certain page, but you can't force it in, so you have to see, okay, I put this part on the next page and go and be like, okay, are both pages now too empty or not? And this is like something I work for longer than the actual page itself. And yeah, what Dasha says, like motivating ourselves, like getting over the idea of, is that good enough? Just do your thing, do what you like, telling that yourself over and over. This is a challenge, the biggest challenge. Yeah.
I actually had an artist on the podcast at one point that said something that was really interesting, is that no work of art is ever properly finished. You just have to find the point that you feel comfortable abandoning it.
Indeed.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Like, it will never be perfect for yourself. Let's admit it.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I worked on a puppet lately, and I like to move it, like legs, head, everything like a rig. And the next morning, I edited a few things, and then the morning after that, I edited a few things again. It's like exactly how to like you said.
Yeah, and I do writing, so like the second, third, fourth, 35th, 87th pass, you'll find something to add to it. Something to refine all of that. So yeah, it's definitely the hardest part, is stepping away from a project when you think that
Yep, there will always be something else to add if you look hard enough.
Yep,
yeah.
and there's where feedback comes in. That makes the progress much faster.
Make it so your story, your first chapter, doesn't have 8K words.
EE.
The hardest part of creating, right?
Yep, whatever that happens to be for you.
Well, it kind of depends, but I'd say, well, sometimes it's getting past the writers or animators or artists block, just pushing through that first stage of actually getting something visualized.
The dreaded getting started point.
That can be kind of tricky. Yeah. Almost as hard as animating a walk cycle.
Yep.
I agree.
Okay, next.
Proceleon, have I picked on you yet?
Surprisingly, no.
Then it's your turn.
Part of the creative process. Something. Again, everyone else has already mentioned things that I find difficult.
Oh, come on, you're a game dev. This should be easy.
Yeah. I suppose. For the longest time, I've pretty much always struggled with sticking with a project. I think a few other people will be able to relate to this. If it's just a simple like character drawing or something small that I'm doing, like maybe that will take like an hour or like a couple of hours. but writing and game development, you could potentially be there for a year, 2 years, and all that time you've got to stick with it.
Yep.
You have to sort of keep coming back to it and finding the balance between figuring out when to take breaks from it, figuring out when to work on it, and avoiding getting distracted by anything else, especially.
I know how you
It's
feel.
I know of a few other people will relate to that kind of shiny object syndrome, where you just get a new idea and it's like, oh, this is my obsession now.
Yeah, like
And then-
games take very long to make.
Yeah.
Gosh, yes.
In
Yeah,
my case, it's just I
Like,
already have 3 stories that I'm
it's
working at. Oh, what about a 4th one?
yeah. It'll be like, oh, I've got a working character, or oh, I've completed this menu. Now I have a new idea about something completely different, and I want to do that.
You know, the pro about making games is that you're not doing it alone.
Well, I have been working alone.
I mean, you could do it alone, but most of the time it's in a team because I
That's-
study game art, so I know how you feel because I've been making games too.
Figuring out how to find that in you to stick with one project until it's done. That's the hardest part that I've encountered. But I sort of keep in the back of my mind a quote from I believe it's Masahiro Sakurai, who said, if you keep working on something, it will eventually be complete.
I mean, that is
Indeed.
not wrong.
Which is absolutely true, yeah.
And to be honest, it's okay to have multiple projects, so you can switch like from time to time.
Yeah.
It helps with avoiding burnout.
Indeed.
Yeah. I usually take like baby steps forward and sort of set myself small tasks at one time, so it doesn't seem like a bigger project, even though it is.
Yeah, like cutting it into pieces. I know that. feeling.
Yeah. Cut it into manageable chunks.
Okay. Matsu, did you get to go?
Yep, I was first.
Okay, I couldn't remember. So, from one end to the other, this time we're going to see what y'all's favorite part of the creation process is. I have a feeling I'm going to get several when it's overs, but we'll see.
Mood.
And we'll start with ES.
Should we put in a rule of know when it's overs?
Oh,
I think that-
when is that part?
I think that might be a worthwhile rule to do that. You got to think a little harder than that.
okay, for one, when it's over, but
the rules.
It's also nice when you have finished your stuff and you submitted it. Like you look at it and you get the feeling of this is what I participated, what I brought into the fandom. And when you get to a point where you get like more than 1 or 2 comments, you can like go through them and be like, oh yeah, they noticed this, or when they have ideas, when they say, did you imply that this and this is a certain way? And I'm like, yeah, of course I did. And then like you get inspired by the persons to interpret much more into your work than yourself, like for a comic artist. And I this is one thing I really love, like the interaction with the fans.
That's actually really funny you say that, because there are times. So I do lots of Dungeons and Dragons. That's actually half of my YouTube channel at this point. But I all the time I will be like doing things with the players, and then like three of them will all have ideas at the same time, and I'm just sitting in the background writing it down, going, "Yep, that's totally what I was thinking."
All according to plan.
Yeah. Was that all? Was that all you wanted to add, yes, or did you have anything else?
Currently, I prepare a lot of puppets for 2 new comics, and I'm more than half done with the first chunk. Like I cut it into pieces. Like the first comic is like my random stuff, what I do for fun, and I'm more than half done, and like seeing the end coming closer already. Not like finishing it, but getting the half point done. Like the rest I do is less than what I already did. This is a good feeling too.
Okay. Nicola.
Well, definitely the middle of creation and the finishing. In the middle, I like to. Well, I like when I'm still working on it. Well, I can put whatever I want. I like the process. Um. Wait. Oh my god.
Take your
So
time.
just I like to be able to make something that or to create that other people that I can enjoy and I can show to other people. And of course, like everyone said, when it's finally done, you just feel so proud of something you made.
Okay. Let's. Proceleon, your turn.
Well, I do tend to create a lot of different concepts and a lot of different characters. I'm pretty sure I have like hundreds of just leftover projects that I haven't really come back to. As I was saying with the finding it hard to stick with one project. But actually seeing it like up and moving, because some concepts I'm pretty glad I did leave behind, but the ones I really want to use, I can put them into a project, and it's really satisfying seeing them sort of come to life, because it's so much better than seeing them just sort of gathering dust in a DeviantArt gallery somewhere. And every single time I like animate them or like write dialogue for them and put that in front of an audience, it's like Frankenstein, it's alive. and seeing that realized is probably the most satisfying part of the process for me, because some of these I have had around for years. We're talking like childhood characters, so sort of drawing them again, bringing them up to date, and putting them in a story that you can then show to other people, it gives them that life that you always wanted them to have.
Okay. E.
I think I may have already said this in a previous one, but for me, honestly, it'd be when the thing I'm trying to create starts to match what I have in my head, or even exceed what I had in my head. is kind of the best part. That was relevant to the question. Sorry, what was the question again? Sorry.
Your favorite part of like your
Yeah, I thought that was right. Yeah, that. Yeah, I'd say that is still my favorite part, where where you actually start to see it come together the way you imagine it, and this is especially true for animation because you continuously watching the whole thing build up, and sometimes you see it kind of fall apart somewhere. You have to go back and adjust the frames, and then it starts up again after fixing that. And yeah, I'd say that is kind of the best part, really. Yeah,
okay.
yeah, I hope that helps.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Matsu, have you gone yet?
Nope.
Your turn.
Ooh. My favorite part of the process is definitely making that whole ass document, gigantic document full of little world building details and scattered plot points that may or may not be in the final product. Making old character sheets with personality traits that I'll be using, all this kind of stuff. Just making that big old list of things that I want to be, like things that I want to put in the story. Again, may or may not be there in the end. But making the thing come together is definitely good as well. But I think the pain of having to throw away some of the stuff outweighs it. So making the list in the start is definitely my favorite part.
Okay. And Dasha.
Yes, I think it's pretty obvious what my favorite part is. That's animating, of course. And whoa, whoa, very obvious. I do like lightning too, so like lighting the scene up so it gets more life. And the most important thing is like bringing the character to life in like the animation you're making. I think that's the best thing for yourself. And of course, my favorite part is when it's completed. No pressure, but you get to show your friends and family what you've made and you can see their reactions. So I think that's the best part for me.
See, I'm actually going to throw my 2 cents into this one and say that, yeah, the completion's nice. You get that, like, oh, I did the thing. But I prefer the community impact that comes from being able to share it with people, whether it's creating like a short story or something like that, and then everybody gets excited about it, or like a video that you get a bunch of comments on, stuff like that. It's the interaction that comes after the completion. But I think
Oh yeah,
that
absolutely. I mean, it makes you think like it was all worthwhile.
oh, absolutely,
Yes.
yeah.
All the hours.
That's why it gets a little depressing when something just doesn't get any interaction. One of those things.
And it will happen sometimes.
One of those things.
Especially in the beginning.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, as creators, we're always looking for the next thing that'll get people's attention that we make.
That's why I always said in the past when I started, as long as I have one or two people to talk about with about my stuff, I'm happy. That was always enough for me in the beginning.
And then there's me.
Yes, like having supportive friends and family helps a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I do agree with that.
Hi, Mom. Can you read my fic?
But yeah. I see what you put there, ES. And I'm also going to point out what Proceleon said, and if you guys in the audience have any kind of questions or comments or anything that you'd like me to address to the group here, feel free to put them in the chat, and depending on time and all that, I will read them the questions for them to answer. But we are going to go with the ESs for now. Biggest failures.
Ooh.
What was your biggest flop? And we will start with... Actually, let's start with ES, because I'd imagine he already has something in mind.
I don't think I have a biggest failure. If anything, I have a lot of small mistakes, like art block. I always tried to get ask blocks running about OCs, and those always failed. And there
hold
was
on,
one.
hold on. We got our one of our wayward guests has arrived. Give me just a
Yay!
sec. There we go. Give me just a sec to get you set up so that everybody can see you when you talk, and then I'll have you introduce yourself. Yeah. Please hold for technical difficulties. Where'd it go? There it is. And this is a podcast first. There's now 7 guests. Browser source.
No, there aren't enough boxes.
Oh, there are plenty of boxes.
There's always enough boxes.
My box was kicked out.
Oh no!
I didn't totally forget to actually add the slideshow this time, so we're not totally just going to stick Suki in the slideshow box.
Yeah, you get the big
I am the
square.
slideshow.
Hell yeah.
You got the big
You
box.
got the big one.
Yeah.
There we go. We'll just stick you right in the middle of it.
You're in a big, you're just in a big empty room all by yourself.
Oh god.
Okay, Suki. Introduce who you are, what you do, all that good stuff.
Hi.
Where you're from, and what got you into being a creator.
Hi. So kia ora. So my name's Suki. I mainly focus on doing art at the moment because it's one of my strongest things. Like I make, like I've been making art online for a few years now. But I've also recently gotten back into doing like music composition, which has been a big passion of mine throughout like just schooling, and I've been bringing it into like making like a few small songs just for like for some projects, and then a few fan songs which I really want to do. And then sorry, what was the other question? What was the last question? Sorry, the
reason that you became a creator, like what got you into creating things?
I think it's just wanting to be a part of the little communities there, just seeing how much everyone like connects with one another. Is just wanting to be a part of those small little like those groups that they have like online within those communities, like making art for each other, making like drawing their characters together. I've always had like a big thing of wanting to be a part of those groups, even if it is small. Like I've always just found such a joy of making content within that small community. So that's probably my reason for it. Yeah.
Okay. And I'm also going to hit you with the next question that we were talking about: biggest failures.
Oof. Looking at it, I think biggest one I did was like trying to start up. It was when I was quite young. I was wanting to do like my own, like my first original sort of content, and I was super proud of it, but it never got as much. Like I think the biggest problem I found with it was I never gave it as much attention, and that pretty much caused it to not be as good quality as everything else, and just slowly like faded into obscurity. Didn't get as much attention. Whenever I tried to bring it up with someone, they're like, "What is that?" To me, I guess that's probably my biggest, like the biggest flop for me. Then again, that was probably like I made that when I was quite young, like I said. So it was, it's a learning curve, I suppose. Just dipping my toes into that water and then seeing, okay, yeah, no, I shouldn't do that again. Just learning where you go from that point on with making like your content, and then I guess it's probably yeah.
Okay, give me just a sec to type something out real quick. So-
I'm going to have to head off for just a second. I will be right back.
Okay. Yes. Did you? I know we kind of interrupted yours. Did you want to start over?
Just that I think the biggest. I don't have a big failure, just a lot of small ones. Just as what I said. I think the thing I regret the most, which I never get working, was my first OC before I made Silverlay, like the blue one you see there is a red unicorn called Rouge. And I tried several ask blogs and even 2 comics working with her. But I started them and it just didn't feel right. And the plan was not really thought out. And I canceled both because I was like, I'd rather cancel it now before it gets too far and I already don't feel well with it. And up until today, after 10 years, there's not a single project with her, and she's just like the only OC. I have nothing done, and this is something this is like my biggest failure.
Okay. EE, your turn.
Honestly, the one thing that really stands out in my mind as a failure would have to be an analysis video or a two-parter analysis video that I tried to create on the subject of bat ponies on my video, on my YouTube channel. Basically, I was originally motivated by seeing another YouTuber make a claim that was really just another theory video to suggest that maybe bat ponies were never actually real in canon, and that maybe it really was just a costume worn by Luna's gods. And I was kind of just motivated to argue against that first and foremost. That was mostly what drove the creation of that video. But in the process of making it, I overlooked some pretty obvious details that would have helped with creating the video I was trying to create, or the videos I was trying to create. And as a result, I don't really like the results in hindsight, even though there's a lot of it that I still think would technically be okay, and it was still relatively well received at the time. I just don't like it because of what it overlooked and what I didn't know at the time, because it was just, yeah, I'm not sure really. Yeah, I just, yeah, that's basically it. That's the what I'd call the biggest failure.
Okay. Matsu.
Ooh. I don't have a big flop on my stories because all of them flopped, so none of them are special.
And I'm back.
So if we're talking about little mistakes, quote unquote little mistakes, I guess the biggest thing that I love doing is, writing my story, especially when I get excited. Ooh, this is great. This is amazing. And then I'm in the 5th chapter and oh, wait a second. Like the thing that is happening here, like it's great, but it contradicts something that I established in chapter 1. Oh crap, what should I do? should I go back and change it in the first chapter, but then I have to change everything else that comes after it? Should I just restart over? And it all depends on how big the mistake was. Some of them I can correct more easily. Some of them require a big boy rewrite. But yeah, I think that's my kryptonite, we can say.
Okay. Nicola.
Biggest failures. Let me just go through half of my work. But I would say I haven't done that much, but probably I once tried to make an Gen 4 drawings for all Gen 5 characters, and while Misty turned out good, with Easy something really wasn't working. The more I was working on it, the worse it became. And so I just stopped with it. And not so much a failure, but a bit embarrassment on my part in a video I made. I made a review, and you know how in review you usually have the score for a episode. I forgot to put in the video. Just me saying things without numbers on the screen, so nobody knows what actually I rated the episode, since I don't say it. Yeah, I uploaded the video, watched it, and I was like, oh my god. So I would say those two.
Okay. Yasha.
Yes. I don't want to sound selfish, but I don't think I have any failures. From mistakes, I learn, and that's how I see it. Like, if I make mistakes, I'll just do it different next time. So that's like where my power comes from. You learn from your mistakes. So I think that's why I don't have any failures.
When you said you had no failures, I was like, sus. But the explanation works for me.
I mean, you can fall, but we can stand up too.
Absolutely. And we're still here.
That's what I'm doing.
Okay. And Proceleon. I believe you're the last one.
Biggest flop. Well, my pony fandom involvement is relatively new compared to all of the other fandoms that I've like interacted with. But there is one thing. It's not pony related exactly, but it is writing. And it is back in 2013. I must have been, I want to say 17, 18 at the time. That was when I was really into creepypastas at the time. And I was mainly watching, I don't know if you know Mudahav from Some Ordinary Gamers. He does like news and current events now, but he used to be like a gaming channel and a creepypasta channel for a while. But I was sort of inspired by his content to try making a creepypasta of my own. And because I had not seen this done before, I wanted to make a Spyro creepypasta. I think I briefly mentioned this before, but I don't think I've discussed it fully. What I intended, what I intended for it to be, was definitely not what it was, because I intended it to be featured on this channel because he was doing creepypasta readings. The old Spyro, this hasn't been done before. This is unique. This will take off. But it was not good. It was full of grammar mistakes. For one, I read it a couple of years ago with like writer eyes this time, and I realized just how many grammar mistakes there are in there. Loads of cliches, and as you might have expected, it went absolutely nowhere. I got the odd comment, but largely it got absolutely no traction whatsoever, and that was one of the biggest like disappointments that I faced as as a budding writer, I'll say, because that was something that I really wanted to do well. However, now that I'm starting to write properly, because I am writing like a pony fanfic at the moment. That is, I'm going to say, one of the more important things that I've done, because that was one of the first pieces of writing that I ever actually completed and put out to the world. It was called She Is Not, and that was like the main phrase that was repeated over and over again, cliche. But I do consider it one of my more important pieces, because that sort of it's something that I can go back to and reflect on, and I can, as Dash said, learn from it and try and make my writing not that. So yeah, that was the biggest like disappointment that I've ever put out, but I still consider it very important to like my personal history and my personal journey.
Okay.
So even the failures are important.
I do agree. And I have only ever seen one Spyro adjacent creepypasta, and it was a Skylanders one, so we don't count that one.
This was 2013. This was, so yeah. Skylanders would have been around then, but this was classic Spyro that I was writing
the real
about.
Spyro.
I actually kind of like Skylanders, alright?
It would have been better as a standalone franchise, not trying to piggyback off of Spyro.
True. But I take it for what it is.
Anyways, before I get distracted, we're gonna flip that question around. What is y'all's greatest success story? Whether it's like a piece of writing that just took off without you, or game, art, animation, doesn't matter. And we're gonna start with... And we'll start with Proceleon.
Well, do I say like a pony thing? I'll say the pony thing and the non-pony thing. The non-pony project that I did not expect to take off as much as it did. That was a series of images that I like to call Skylanders Planet. yes, we're back on Skylanders. It was basically a whole new cast of OCs for Skylanders because I was really into that at the time, and I got so many comments about it. One parent contacted me asking whether it was real because her child was asking for it. Which,
Aw.
you know, I sort of had to explain, no, this is a fan-made thing. This isn't real, but thank you anyway. a bit bittersweet on that one. But the real kicker from that particular series that I did is that I was contacted by, I believe she was like a cutscene. She worked on cutscenes. One of the staff members at was it Toys for Bob or Vicarious Visions that did Superchargers? I can't remember now.
I think that was a Vicarious Visions one.
What was it?
I'm pretty sure that's about when Toys for Bob handed off the series to them.
I remember they went back and forth.
I'm pretty sure at one point Toys for Bob just moved on to greener pastures.
Oh no, it was Toys for Bob because it was I think it was Toys for Bob actually because it was Trap Team related.
Ah.
So I was contacted by a staff member from Toys for Bob. She worked on cutscenes, and she said, "We've noticed your work," and basically offered to give me like a complimentary poster for it to say thank you.
That's really cool.
And
That's really
Yeah.
amazing.
Indeed.
yeah, and to this day, I have that Trap Team poster proudly displayed up on the wall.
I do not blame you.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
that is. I tell everyone that will listen, that is a gift direct from Toys for Bob.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And I was in no way expecting that to do the numbers that it did. Most successful Oni thing would definitely be the 40-year anniversary image that I did. Because even though I'm debatably one of the smaller pony artists, that still made the rounds on a few sites. I saw it featured on one of the film fiction posts of a group that I'm part of, and I wasn't even aware that it was featured on that post until someone else pointed that out to me.
Okay.
And I think to this day it's one of my most upvoted images, and it only took me, I think it took me like 4 days to do. So for 4 days work, that's pretty good.
Okay.
So I'm really pleased with that one.
Let's see, who should we do next? Eeny, meeny, miny, E.
Nice. So, greatest successes,
Yes.
right? Or greatest success? Um. Well, I'd say it's doing the animations for Lighter Shade of Crimson, really, because it had been quite a while since I'd done any animation, and this was kind of the. I was basically just volunteering to do some artworks initially. I didn't think I'd be doing animation, but once I reminded myself of my older techniques and gone to the flow of it, I was somehow able to pull off animating a 2-minute long scene. Or yeah, that was right. And looking back, it's just that is, I think, my biggest success, because I never thought I would ever be doing that. It was a fight scene as well, or half a fight scene, half a conversation. But yeah, that would be it. The biggest success story would be animating a 2-minute long animation sequence for a scene in a horror romance audio drama. There you go.
I've always heard that
Next.
choreographed fight scenes are very difficult to animate.
Yeah, that's
Which
fair.
fighting scene is not difficult to animate?
But let's see, who are we going to do next? Nicola, your turn. Greatest success.
Well, not much comes to mind. Most of my things are not much seen, and good amount is made more for my friends or other projects. But there are two things that stick out a bit. First is older one. The drawing of Misty I did. That one I posted on my DeviantArt. Everything I posted had less than 10, favorites. That I'm guessing those are like likes. The Misty one got over 60, I think. And the second one is a video I made that was suggested by one person on Discord. It was not a theory. It was more like I was explaining like alternative timeline, and that one got over 1,000 views, which at the time was like 6 times the most I got. Even now, that's still the most popular video. Although it wasn't even my best work. Like now, you know how it is. You see something you made a year ago, and you're like, I can do that so much better now.
This is how practice works.
Yeah. So those two are the only ones that I would consider like most successful.
Okay. Suki, your turn.
Oh, in terms of like pony stuff, my biggest success probably, at least for me anyways, probably has to be like my Kingdom of the Sun stuff, which I've been doing is like sort of like a breakaway from, it's like a take on G5 basically, but it's them exploring out other species and like what happened to them after the divide, because I really don't like that they did not elaborate on that in G5. So I pretty much just, I think that to me has been like one of the more successful things, like not just with the like people like pony fandom either, it's like with other fandoms I'm a part of. I found like a bunch of people are quite engaged with it. One friend I have is actually quite inspired by that story, and like to me, if I can inspire someone that much for that, with the work I make, I'm really happy with that. It sounds like I'm blowing my own horn, but like,
I mean, we are asking for success from you guys, so there may be a little horn tooting going on.
Yeah, and I just find like a lot of I think there has come like a lot of joy has come from it, and it's also allowed me to like grow as well, like with what I do, like how I make characters and how I've designed them. Because yeah, I think from the beginning, a lot of them, like when I first started considering the idea, the characters didn't look or feel how they do now. And I'm gonna be honest, I think I think Doc actually pointed out one of the characters I made looks exactly like you, like your character. And I'm like, oh shoot, I didn't mean to do that.
I think I
yeah,
remember seeing that one actually.
Yeah, the giant dark fire alicorn. Not alicorn, but unicorn. um, but yeah, I think I found like a lot of joy and like success from that. And the other one is it was quite recent, but I've gotten some notice for it with collabs and whatnot. Is my first fan song I wrote. Which was also for G5, and I think it was I based it on like Pip trying to like have a connection with her late father, I guess, and yeah, I very much based it off a bunch of musicals, but I think I've found like that's how I ended up getting into that big creators hub server, and how I ended up becoming like I guess a little bit more engaged with the fandom, which was like a big step for me. So I think those two things I found some good success with. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yes, your turn.
Yeah. There's no big breakthrough moment where say like this turned out much better than I expected than others. But I remember two moments which I really loved. Is the first time when my comic was featured on the Quest Daily. This is like over 10 years ago, and I saw it was up there, and I went to bed, and the next morning I woke up and I checked my notifications, and it was like plus more than 100 watchers watched us overnight, and I was just like, why does this number look so weird? Like it's like, when do we ever get like 100 watchers overnight? And it was like almost the only time it happened because the fandom was like all glowing back then. But that was like a proud moment. And another one, that's more funny than big, is when the opening episodes of season 5 aired, like with Starlight and the Equal Town. Several people pointed out like there's a reviewer, there's an OC of you in it, and I was like, what? What are you talking about? And there was a reviewer who pointed out that Night Glider, like the Pegasus with the dark blue coat and the white mane, looks like my OC, like Silverlay. And everyone afterwards was pointing it out, like they took your colors. She looks exactly like her, and I was just like, no, but it was pretty hilarious how everyone was like, yeah, she was inspired by her. It was no big deal, but it was so funny, and that's something I always like to remember.
Okay. Dasha.
Yes. My biggest success. I think we all know this era from a few years ago, the Five Nights at Pinky's era. I'm sure everyone knows about it.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Uh-huh.
Yes, that's like how I started out with animation. And since like I do animation for longer than 8 years, I want to do something back for that part of the fandom. So I made a 5-minute long video of Five Nights at Pinky's, and it was very well received by everyone. It has like more than over 100k. So I think that's my biggest success. Besides that, I also made like The Moon Sadness. That's a little story about Luna and Celestia in a 1-minute video. Well, when I uploaded that thing, it was like, okay, I'll just wait and see what happens. Like, it was just for fun. I got to sleep. I woke up and I got so many notifications. And I suddenly noticed it was uploaded on Equestria Daily. So I think that was really important for me. And besides that, yeah, I've been working with a few music composers. That was always like kind of a dream for me to make an original animation for music. So yeah, I think those are my biggest success so far.
Okay. And Matsu.
God, it really put me last, huh? I don't think I have anything that comes anywhere near close. The other ones, I don't think any of my pony stuff ever popped off. I sure hope the one I'm currently working at is well received. Been working at it for a little bit over a year now, but we'll see how that goes. But I guess if we don't count pony stuff, the biggest success that I ever had is not really available in English. It's only in Brazilian Portuguese, but it's a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure fan part that I wrote like over 2 years ago. Has around like 5K views at this point. Other than that, I guess if we talk about personal successes, there's a little story I made. This one is pony related. It's called The Glass Purgatory. This one was one of my first like longer stories, longer one shots, and I think this one helped me a lot to establish my writing style and all that stuff. So I consider it to be a big personal success of mine, and I think it's pretty well written. So I use it a lot as a base for my other stories. So I guess that's it. And I don't have anything else.
Okay. Well, I think because this is my podcast, I'm going to answer this question too. So,
Doot, doot.
hey. But I've got two things that I would consider the greatest successes for me. The first off being the fact that I'm a content creator at all. Because while I have always been, and yes, this may sound like me tooting my own horn, but I may have always been like a talented writer. I've never before thought beyond like starting projects to like actually publish things. So like the fact that not only do I have a chapter of a fan fiction out there that people can go find, but I also now have a fairly successful YouTube channel, a Twitch channel, and a whole bunch of other stuff that I'm involved with. It's just, you ask me about 5 years ago if I was going to be here, and I would have laughed in your face. But by far, what I consider my biggest success, and this is a moment where Nameless gets sappy, it's a combination of these two podcasts, Alicorn Discusses and Creator Roundup, as well as the MLP Creator Hub. Because to me, and it actually is part of the reason why I don't do uploaded theories anymore, because like when the show ended and it like the steam kind of ran out for me, I kind of looked around at like the fandom and all of that and realized that like I wasn't here for the show anymore. I was here for the people that kept the fandom going. So it was about then that I decided that like that's the kind of the Creator Hub, the podcasts, all the kind of things that I wanted to do to like essentially give back to the fandom, because like the fandom is awesome and I've loved my time that I've spent with it. So it was kind of a no-brainer to like set up stuff like this and to watch the like explosive growth that the Creator Hub has had, to see all of the people that get excited about getting on the podcast and get all nervous and everything. Is like, it's always like really cool to see, because like I'm the one that facilitated that. I've watched people create awesome collabs together on the Creator Hub, And if it hadn't been for an argument at like 4 a.m. between me and Doc, that place would have never existed. And some of the stuff that's come out of it would never have happened. And partially because of that, I've also been able to do things like be a community guest for HarmonyCon. Hopefully 3 years in a row now. But it's one of those things that, like, yeah, you can go look at my channel. I've got videos that've done numbers. I think I have one that's cracked 10K views. And, like, yeah, that's cool and all, but, like, that's nothing compared to, like, the impact on the community that in my personal opinion, that I've been able to have with the things that I've done. Especially considering that most people don't realize that I have not been in the fandom for that long. I came in like a hurricane, started making a mess of things. Fun fact, I started in the fandom in roughly about 2020.
Damn.
That is a surprise.
Yes, most people think I've been here the whole time.
Was lurking in the background, but no, it was not true.
Anyways, we got a couple of questions that were posted in the chat, and I'm going to go ahead and read those. For those of you that are still watching, if you want answers to your own questions, go ahead and post them in the chat, and if I see any before we finish up, then I will see about getting them answered for y'all. First question, I did not copy who said it, so apologies for not saying the name, but who is the person who you would say is the one who supported you the most through your careers? And
that is Alpha Nightshade who asked that question.
That's my boyfriend.
Thank you.
Oh.
We'll start with E. You get to go first.
Which one?
EE, not ES.
Okay.
Not sure. What was the question again? Who supported me the most during my career?
Yes.
I'm not sure I'd call it career, but I know early on there was someone called oh gosh, sorry, this is a while ago. I'm not sure if I'm even still subscribed to them. Sorry, but you really got me thinking.
Do we need to come back to you?
Trying to remember these. Yeah, that'd probably be best. Thanks.
Okay. ES. Your turn.
Hey. That's simple to answer. The biggest support came from my wife, who joined Equestria Stories in the very beginning, and she made her own comic about her OC. So we had 2 Vector comics on our Deviant. We still do, and there were several times. I think I counted 6 so far when I was like, okay, I'm done with the fandom, with the comics, with DeviantArt, and she like, nope, and pushed me further. And without her, we wouldn't be where we are right now. So kudos to my wife, so to speak.
Okay. Dasha.
My biggest support is my boyfriend and my very close friends. He supports me in anything. Like, we go to conventions together. When I'm uncertain of things, he will make it certain for me so I can move on. So that's why I mentioned, like, support is so important for your growth. Like, you need to feel comfortable, and I am.
Okay. Matsu.
Ooh. I guess the person who supported me the most through my entire life, pretty much, is a very close friend of mine that I met at elementary school. Eventually, went to high school together. We're now roommates. And she
Oh my
not
god, they
only
were roommates.
and not only did she help me a lot, like with my writing, and she's actually the one who got me into writing, but she also helped me a lot throughout my life, like with my mental health issues. She was always there for me, so I consider her a pretty big pillar in my life currently, both for my career and my freaking mental stability, I guess. But yeah, if I had to choose one, definitely her.
Okay. Suki.
It's hard for me to like pinpoint one person because like I guess I'm still kind of getting back into my pony phase, but throughout my whole thing, like when I've been making anything, it's been my parents. I get it's a big thing for island families. For us, we have like a really strong family base. Like we're constantly supported by our families and whatever we do, and this is no exception. My mom and dad have been like super supportive of the work I do and helping me to grow and make more I think explore different paths for my work. They've been giving me lots of pointers. I think when I was younger and I was doing like songwriting, my dad was the one who actually helped me come up with one of the piano licks that I used in one of my songs. And I think I wouldn't be like half as good of like, or I guess half as like aware of like the work I do or like be as proud of it if I didn't have that support and influence on the side from them.
Okay. Nicola.
Well, of course, my friends support me. But if I gotta choose one person, it would be Wind Striker. He's since I started talking to him, he supported my work, and now I'm even helping him with his projects, and in same time I'm developing my skills.
Okay. Did I already pick on you, Proceleon?
You asked me that before, and the answer is still no.
Okay.
You have not.
Sometimes I forget. So it's
Sorry,
your turn.
there's a lot of people here. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have had a lot of different like phases. Like people have come and gone. At the moment, for my regarding my game career, specifically, there are two that do come to mind. One is Shades. He is the I believe CEO of a game developer and publisher called Shady Corner. They do specialize in reviewing and developing games more on the adult side of things, which is a scene I'm not particularly in myself, but he's seen my work in game development, and he's been really supportive of me becoming a full-time developer. So he's really encouraged me. Then the other is one called Charim the Shadox, who mainly reviews or plays and reviews streams, I should say. He streams games more on the furry side of things, which is people who don't know, the fandom that I'm primarily in, and he's been another big supporter of my game career. He actually was the first person to stream one of my Game Jam games, which was really cool. Having that the first time is a big event. Pony-wise, or not even Pony-wise, actually, this goes beyond Pony. Sapphire Sistering, who I know has been on these podcasts a few times.
Once or twice.
Yeah, just a couple of times. He's supported me for a good few years now. Basically, one of the people responsible for getting me into Pony in the first place. And he definitely gave me the wake up call that I really needed, because around that time I was very much in like a personal funk, very much a wallow in self pity kind of approach to things. So basically just smack me around and told me, get your act together, to paraphrase it. And I'm fairly sure without him, I probably would be in a much worse place personally than where I am now. And the last two people that I will mention is two, I guess, fellow content creators. They've done like a couple of different things over the years. There is JWWT4, who has his own like tank related YouTube channel and a gaming channel as well. And Vortex Zero as well, who you might know for being involved with the Dimensional Shift project. Those two I've known for I think it's over 10 years now, and they've always been very close friends, very supportive friends, and I don't thank them as much as I should. So the fact that I'm doing so on a live stream is it's not exactly the way I wanted to go about it, but it's happening. And I will make sure that they see this, because I appreciate them more than they know. Yeah, that is all the yeah, that's all the shout outs that I wanted to do.
Okay. EE.
Right. Well, in terms of, I guess somebody who helped most early on, I'd say back when I was mostly focusing on doing theory and analysis videos on YouTube, and was kind of relying on my videos showing up in the nightly roundup on Equestria Daily. My channel was discovered by a larger content creator called Raven Mad, who was part of the Rift Cafe website, and I volunteered to showcase my videos there to get them noticed, and yeah, that continued for a while until the website, I think, just stopped posting new videos there. But yeah, that's, I think, what really got me my initial boost early on. That's I think what helped most earlier. Yeah. Nowadays, I think there's really no one person who helps most with most of my videos, since I have a circle of friends who I go to for feedback or ideas or suggestions, or just to bounce ideas off of. People like Buttery Biscuit. They're an artist who's actually in the Creator Hub. Song. Silvergear, Bluey, Taz. Not the Taz you're probably thinking of. But yeah, there's nowadays I have a circle of friends, but I think early on, if there was one person who helped out with becoming getting further, would really be Raven Mad. Wait, did I say their name earlier on, or have I only just said that name?
You've said it twice now.
I can't tell. Yeah, okay, good. I waffled on so much, I kind of wondered if I'd even said the name. Sorry.
You're fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think I'm
Thanks.
also
I think I'm
going.
finished.
I think I'm also going to answer this one because this, background stuff for like how I got started. So like I've got no shortage of people have wanted to help and support me throughout my career. I can point at 4 servers right now, just full of people I consider friends, as well as my family. But if there is one person that I have to point to for like support and like having how I got started as a content creator just at all, it would be Sawtooth Waves. So for those of you that don't know this about me, when I started out in the fandom, I started out with I'm going to be a content creator. I want to be an active part of this fandom. Because before that, I had been part of the Undertale fandom as more of a passive observer. The vast majority of people that join a fandom where they just like enjoy the stuff that's in it. I wanted to do more than that. So I started out as a writer, and one of the things that I did was join a bunch of like different creators like servers. And one of the ones I joined was Sawtooth Waves. At the time, he was known as the Burning Ocean still. And while I was there, I looked around and went, y'all don't got anything going on here. It's kind of boring. Why don't I run a D&D game for y'all? And he said yes. And so Peacemakers of Equestria started up for the first time. And I remember asking him on a couple of occasions, like, you should stream this. This would be really cool for people to watch. And he said it wouldn't work for his channel. And then I did the Thanos thing of, fine, I'll do it myself. And for a little while, the channel was kind of tiny. It wasn't really like going anywhere. But after he and I had been talking about it for a little while, and I started doing like uploaded content that was more edited, he and I did a collab together that exploded the growth on my channel to the point where like half of my subs were stopped by YouTube, and I still went over 2,000 subs within like 2 weeks. And it was the single most like explosive growth type thing that I have ever experienced. And it was how I got into a lot of people's like view, and it's how I got to the point where I am now. So like if I had to point to anybody that singularly helped me, that would be him. It's unfortunate everything that happened with him, but doesn't change the fact that he basically jump-started my career as a brony YouTuber. We got one more question, and then we're going to call it for the day. And I'm going to expand this slightly because some of y'all aren't actually European. But as a non-American creator, what are some of the challenges that you guys face? Either like time zones, language barriers, stuff like that. Like what makes this kind of stuff more difficult with the fandom having originated from the U.S.? And as the person who asks the question, I'm gonna put ES on the hot seat first.
Besides this, I'm German, so I'm not English is not my mother tongue or first language. So translating everything into English was a challenge, especially in the beginning. When sometimes I submitted pages, I always put those who gave me support, like pointed out spelling errors in the description. Sometimes I had like mentioned 7 different people mentioning like there's a mistake and there's a mistake. And I think another big challenge was live streaming. For a long time, I live streamed regularly back on Picarto. And I had a lot of friends who live in Australia and a lot of friends who live in the US. And one is 6 hours before me, and the others are 6 hours behind me. So it's always a challenge to find the perfect time so I can have all of them there. This were the biggest challenges.
Okay. Dasha.
I think for me, the hardest thing as a non-American creator is like the time zones. I have many friends in the US, and it's very hard to keep contact because I can only talk with them in the evening because of the time zones. So that makes it very difficult for me. But I do try as much to talk to them, but it's like a barrier between us.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the hardest parts about doing this podcast. I get so many European creators. Oh, I'd like to. Never mind. It's 3 a.m.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna do a podcast in the night. I'm so sorry.
It's understandable. I'm probably going to end up at least doing this annually, where I have like a podcast day set aside for like, because I can't do this every week for my schedule's sake.
I mean, that's fine.
But,
we're happy we can do this now.
I'm probably going to have like a once a year or once a month, or I'll have to decide type of deal where it's like, yeah, all of those European creators that don't get to come on here very often, your turn. But yeah, time zones, they suck.
Yep.
What time do you have to get up to do this?
So, because of the way that I have this set up, it's 1 p.m. that I start getting everything ready. I'm in here by 1:30. We start at 2, and then it's normally up to 2 hours after, if not longer. Sometimes shorter, but with this having more guests, it's going to inevitably end up running longer. So it's more the fact that because of my own personal sleep schedule, I basically wake up and immediately start working on this. And then after that, it's just kind of like the whole day is just, there's nothing you can really go do. So you just end up with like, well, there goes my day. Which is why I prefer it in the evening, because it also like allows for people in the US that are working to get off work and stuff like that most of the time. And it allows for things to be done during the day. And, it's just all around more convenient for the American side. It just turns out that it's like 3 a.m. for y'all, if not later. Anyways, Proceleon, you were going to go next anyways.
I think because obviously the time zone is a big a big barrier because I have basically no local people that I talk to. They're all overseas, which has absolutely destroyed my sleep schedule.
Yeah, I there was one point that I was hanging out with Australian people frequently. So
Yeah.
like being up until like 7 or 8 in the morning or later. I think the latest I'd stayed up it was I finally went to bed at noon. Yeah, I understand that. It's
Yeah,
not healthy.
One of the people that I do talk to is actually Australian, so that definitely doesn't help. But I find as I talk to more hang on.
Oh. Technical difficulties. We good?
Sorry. Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
All that talk of
I find-
Australia got to drop
I do
off.
I do find as I talk to more and more people in America, I start to realize just how different like the terminology is.
Oh
And,
yeah.
Yeah, because yeah,
Yeah, cuz
like we get a lot of American media over here, and obviously countries like Germany and Spain and France and other places in mainland Europe that they can get it translated into their own languages, but we don't really get that luxury. There's no like American English dub and British English dub.
yeah, because most people look at it as
So,
like it's English, who cares?
Yeah, exactly. So we get exposed to a lot of American terminology and a lot of American expressions. A lot of which I didn't initially understand. I can remember back when I saw A Bug's Life for the first time, and they feature a candy corn in one of the scenes. And at the time, I had absolutely no idea what candy corn was. So it just looked like a big ice cream to me. Because I didn't realize that obviously it's much more commonplace in American culture, but we don't really get that.
You know, that's
And,
kind of funny to me to think that
What is
there's
a
a
candy corn?
it's
Exactly. That's what I was talking about.
it's a conical waxy
I
candy
still don't know what that is.
that it really doesn't resemble corn. It's just kind of gross, honestly. But
I think
Okay.
it's kind of like a boiled sweet type thing that they normally have around Halloween, right?
Oh god,
Okay.
I just realized
something
we were
like
talking
that.
about candy corn, not a bloody unicorn that was made of candy. That's what I thought it was.
Yeah. But the same has kind of gone the other way as well. Because if I were to say the word aubergine, for example,
Yeah, I have no
I've-
clue.
yeah, exactly. I'm fairly sure the Europeans know what I'm talking about, but America's
I
got
know.
no idea.
Oh.
But if I use the word eggplant, now
yeah, I know what
America
that
knows
is.
what I'm talking about.
That's kind of hilarious. I never thought about the language barrier between like the UK and America. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, it is still the same language, but even though it is the same language, there are different terms for different things.
I think the
And-
word you're looking for is it's a different dialect.
Yeah, it's a different dialect, and
Yeah.
I have found the more Americans I talk to, the more I'm exposed to it, to the point where at this point, I'm kind of used to it, but there are certain like certain words and certain phrases that do come up every now and then that do do trip people up.
What the fuck is that?
Like it.
I had no idea
Hmm?
biscuit meant something different in America. Biscuit.
Oh yeah,
That means something
like
very different in America.
American biscuits and the biscuits over here, they're completely different.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure what you
American-
guys call
Yeah.
biscuits are just called cookies here.
Exactly.
American
Yeah.
biscuits actually are better,
I think,
to be honest.
I think
than fair.
I think the biggest thing that's confused me in American media is the school system because we use a completely different school system over here. So I hope I'm getting this right, but I believe what you call high school age would be equal to what college is over here, and then what we call university would be what you call college. So if I talk about something that I did in college, Americans think I was older than I actually was, just because college age over there is equal to like university age here.
Technically, we have colleges and universities, but they're basically the same thing. We just like some places are universities and some are colleges, but like nobody ever explained to us what the difference was.
Thank you. I always wondered about that.
Yeah, like especially when people start talking about like school grades, like we don't really use that terminology.
Yeah, we have 1st through 12th grade. Don't ask me what ages or what, because I was homeschooled and didn't have to think about it.
Yeah.
Oh, lucky.
Yeah. I have waffled on about this for a little bit too long, I think. But yeah, there's a lot of slightly different things that add up very quickly when you start to really engage with people from different countries, I find.
Yeah.
And I've had
Yeah, it's a fun
to
thing to waffle on.
yeah. Oh, I could go on about this forever. I won't, but I could.
I think he was more poking the fun at the fact that that's also a British term.
Oh. True. America doesn't
Wait,
really.
do Americans not have the term waffle on?
No, we use
That
other.
wasn't poking fun.
No.
No,
Yeah, we
I wasn't
use
actually.
we use
fine.
very different terms. But yeah, no, waffle on is definitely a British origin.
Yeah, I've
That
even,
was completely unintentional. I wasn't actually making fun of it.
yeah, I've even heard some Americans use the term. I think it's Britishism for it.
That sounds about right, honestly.
I mean, we have the term Americanism, so I guess it goes both ways.
Yeah.
Okay, now from one Brit to the other. EE, it's your turn.
What was the question again? It was whether the fact that the time zones began in America was the problem, right?
Time zones and language barriers, yes.
Yeah, like the unique challenges being not American presents to you.
Honestly, I think we've already covered most of them. I think I'm okay when it comes to time zones in the sense that most of my friends are in a Discord server and are from multiple different countries, so there's always someone I can talk to regardless of what time it is. But in terms of getting people together to joining on a voice call or stream a film or episode of a TV series to watch, it becomes a lot harder because time zones thing. But yeah, I don't really know what else I can add, to be honest. But yeah, that was an interesting topic. Yeah, carry on.
Well, I have a question for the YouTubers in the group, specifically pertaining to this. Since it is a largely American-dominated, to my knowledge, American-dominated fandom, do you time your upload schedules to like American times, or do you try to time them to your local times?
Not usually. I just release it whenever I think it's ready enough. I did one point schedule an episode to premiere at a particular time that would work for an American audience as well, but I think I only did that once.
Because like when I
Sorry,
was
carry on.
doing like the uploaded schedules, it was a like I would only upload it around noontime because like people were getting off lunch. But I don't know if everybody does that or if that's just a American thing.
But it's not just a YouTuber thing. I, for example, submit my pages always around midnight. So the Americans are online because they make the majority of the watchers we have.
Ah, so it's not just a YouTuber thing.
Nope.
I usually, I am so excited once I finish a project or a video, I just upload it immediately. I cannot wait for a specific time.
Mode.
Yeah.
I just look in my YouTube studio because there's a feature that gives like that you know when people are active. So for me, it's like around 4 p.m. that people are most active on my channel. So then I base it off like the time.
Okay. Matsu, your turn.
Oh boy. I mean, language barriers and time zones, of course, but I guess the more than in some other places, especially considering it's a gigantic country, the fandom in Brazil is minuscule, the active fandom at least, and at least access to education, especially for like trying to learn a language, is sometimes pretty expensive, and most people here don't have access to that. There's also a pretty big stigma here with liking this kind of stuff. So some places probably have it worse, but it's a pretty big problem here who makes people like me stay away from the fandom for a good while, which is probably the reason why I joined the fandom so late, like last year. Is because of that. I was pretty much afraid of doing so. But I guess it's mostly that, yeah.
Yeah, I do understand that the stigma around it because that's part of the reason that it took me so long to join too.
Yeah.
It seems to have largely died out here in the U.S. though. Like I have
here is still very much prominent, and it's actually funny because when I finally like joined the fandom and I like talked about it with some friends of mine, some good friends of mine who I never talked about this because I was too afraid. Some of them even started talking to me like, "Oh, I actually also like the show. I just didn't want to tell anyone because I was afraid of telling so." Like they aren't actually active members of the fandom, but like they enjoyed the show, but they were afraid of telling other people that they enjoyed the show.
Yeah. That's kind of a sad thing for a lot of people that enjoy the show and may want to be part of the fandom. That they can't find people that do because everybody's too afraid to admit they like the kids show.
Yeah, and then for us, the best option would be to go to the American fandom, and then the language barrier and the time zones that they come into play.
Mm-hmm. Nicola, your turn.
Well, when it comes to language barriers, I had that of course on beginning too, but by the time I first learned English to some extent, and then I joined the fandom. I learned it simply by watching videos, playing games. I didn't learn it from school, and then I joined the fandom, and by making videos and talking on Discord with people, I really developed my English. I would say, I'm speaking well. Um, and time zones, yeah, they can be annoying, but for the most part, they actually work pretty well for me because when I'm usually always active enough in everything, in the servers and everything, on the right time. And when I talk to my friends, it's actually perfectly fitting because, for example, we talk from, I don't know, 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. And for them, it's like 6 hours behind from me. So it for them works perfectly before in the morning before they go to do other stuff, and for me it works well for the end of the day after I have done everything I have.
So you got one of the lucky sweet spots in time zones where everything just kind of matches up.
Yeah, you could say that for the most part. And also I did want to mention on what Matsu said about being in the fandom and all that being harder in other countries. Um, Here is like this is one of I heard that my language is very hard for people who always speak English, who's that's a natural language, but also here it's most of the things. This country is a little behind, and most of the things that are normal in almost every other country are very. Like if I said I like MLP here, not just that I would, not like people would look at me weird. They would think I'm crazy. They would not talk to me. They would make fun of me. Some people here would even go to physical assault for stuff like that, and not just MLP, but most of the things that are somewhat normal in other countries. It's very judging place. You need to be very careful with your yeah. So it's also it was harder for me. Like first, I never met anyone that not just MLP, but most of any cartoons, animes, and even games are here. It's hard to find somebody that also likes them and that you can talk to. That's why main reason kind of why I made a channel and everything started doing what I do is trying to meet more people that are more like me, that I can talk to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Oh, we lost him.
Oh no.
It was so bad that the internet even said no.
Whoopsie.
Suki, did you get a chance to go?
I did not. Here, I can. Did you want me to?
Oh, he's back. Let's see if. Let me get him back in here.
sorry about that. My Discord crashed.
That's
I
fine.
don't know why.
Did you have anything else to add? What you were saying?
Yeah. No, like I said, I met a few friends and I'm happy now.
Okay. Then Suki, it's your turn.
Okay. Biggest thing I found with being like, or with creating in general, is time zones, and I think accessibility, because like New Zealand's not in a case where like, oh, you can't get this stuff, like you're not allowed to have it. It's but it's really like it doesn't actually have a lot of like accessible access to a lot of the big like maybe say like any cons and all that. Like the biggest one, like for me, like we have here is Armageddon, but it's really rare. Like some like you'll ever see like say a Mario or Pacifica creator even going to those things, and they very rare. It's more like fantasy based than it is like I'd say show based. It's like it's so I find like trying to have access to like say MLP is really hard where I live, because not many people actually know of it. Like many kids do, but people like my age probably don't actually even know what it is or even like it. I'm happy enough where like the people I do hang around actually don't mind too much and they're like really chill with it. But I found like trying to meet people who also kind of vibe with it are like, I don't know what that is. And then like also I guess not really language, but I guess like slangs, because I found just being in any fandom in general, when I try and use like any like Kiwi slang or whatnot, people kind of look at me like, "What the hell are you talking about?" It's the fun. It's like yeah, like I say, "Oh, chipper, it looks mean." I'm like, What does that mean?" I'm like, it's saying it looks nice, but you probably wouldn't like if you're not familiar with like that kind of slang. You're probably like looking at it like, what does she mean by that? So I definitely think like yeah, accessibility and like a few barriers here and there have definitely like made it a little harder for like getting really involved as much as like I think other creators are. But it's why like I spend so much time like looking at like a lot of the YouTube stuff or like engaging online, because those are the kinds of ways I can have that sort of access, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because based off of the information that I have, your closest conventions are either in Japan or Australia.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't have I don't have the money to go to either of those, so it's not very convenient for me.
That is kind of an interesting thing, though, because I know there's like a dozen UK or just EU in general based cons, because you've got like Galicon, you've got Eponia, forget what the full name would, but like there's like plenty of cons for them to go to. But I feel like you, Matsu, and possibly I'm drawing a blank on my geography, but Nicola may not have the opportunity to go to cons either.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's not something I actually ever thought about, because if it essentially you have the choice of no cons at all, or you're paying bucket loads of cash to go to a different country.
Yeah.
Yep. And traveling is pretty considerably time consuming, I guess. So
Absolutely.
I was actually planning on going to Texas for HarmonyCon, like, but I actually won't be able to anymore because my the day that my vacation was selected, because I don't actually choose when my vacation is going to happen. It didn't match, so oops, my plans are gone.
That also blows my mind. What were you going to say, Nicola?
Oh, well, like you said, yeah, that's also the case for me. Here you can't even find like Pokemon, like which is one of the biggest fandoms, I would say, and all that. You can find stuff like that. The closest I have is, I would say, Germany, but that would be a hard trip. Like I have never been outside of my country, so like it would be unusual first experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that's really rough. But at least for some of you, it might be an option to try and start getting people together and potentially starting a con. For those
That was. Yeah.
Oh yes, me and all 5 Brazilian pony fans.
You'd be surprised how many cons have just started from a small group of friends spending the weekend together.
I'm pretty sure that's what originated HarmonyCon. And then they started getting big, and then it was originally Nightmare Nights, and then it disappeared for a little while and came back as HarmonyCon.
Yeah, they usually do start small.
All right, that's the plan. Now I just gotta find 5 Brazilian MOP fans.
I mean, at the end of the day, if nobody else is going to do it, why shouldn't you?
Absolutely.
But
I'll just sit alone, watch the entire show, and call it a con.
It's a convention if you call it a convention.
Hell yes.
It's a conventional convention.
It would be nice to have a convention right like in front of my house.
well, I believe you said you were German, right?
Correct.
Isn't Galicon in Germany?
It is, and I missed it this year, but I can travel there with the train like in 2.5 hours or 3. So, yeah, I have the luxury of one convention.
That's a mood, because the only
one's better than 0.
The only one I can reasonably get to in the U.S., which is, I feel like there are some people that don't realize this, but I can only get to HarmonyCon within reason, because all of the rest of them are so expensive to get to. Because you're either driving, like, in some cases, multiple days, or you're paying for a plane ticket, hotel costs. Yeah. So Americans also have the issue where things get very expensive very quickly when it comes to travel.
Because each state is like countryside, so you might hear about one that's in the US too, and then it's like a week's travel away.
Yeah, I remember the first convention I went to was Everfree Northwest, and it was a 3-day drive across the country. I didn't go the longest way possible. You know, I'm not like driving from California to New York or something like that. But, like, good lord. One of those days was just getting out of Texas. So, yeah.
I don't really... I forget that America is...
I was just going to say, one of the very few days I'm thankful to have a small country.
What were you saying, Nicholas?
Yeah, most countries in Europe, I would say, are not that big, but I forget that America is like a whole continent, like that you actually like need days to travel from one place to another, and it's separated.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. You cannot live in America without a car. But I think that is all we have time for today. For those of you that may or may not still be watching, if you enjoyed that and would like to see more of it, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring the notification bell, follow on Twitch, all that good stuff. I have links in the description for all of these lovely people. Please go check them out. Show them some love. As well as links for my Discord and ways to support the channel. All support is appreciated. It helps me continue doing this. As well as a big thank you to all of my Priest Tier Patreons, Cameo Shadowness, Ice Crystal, and Scarmex. For those of you that enjoy my D&D sessions, I will be doing for Heart of Darkness this Sunday. It is going to be a special episode where you guys will get to do things like suggest modifiers, torment the party with wild magic, and for those of you that are feeling especially generous and throw bits or super chats my way, we may do even bigger things. So be sure to check that out. They have to. I have created them character sheets, but they don't get to see them until they start playing and figure out what they are, what they can do, all that good stuff. So yeah, that's gonna be a hell of a shit show, and it's gonna be hilarious to watch, at least for me. And we'll see how that goes. And I hope you guys can tune in for that, because the more audience members we have, the better. Other than that, we hope that you all have a great afternoon, evening, morning, whatever time it happens to be for you. And don't forget to drink water.